No secret devices planted. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Happy Saturday as well to everyone. Whatever you're doing this weekend, let us know. Obviously, there's no football on at all, is this? Or, people are just doing random things and just kind of trying to... Maybe you're watching cricket, maybe you're watching tennis, maybe you're watching basketball. God bless your soul if you are, because, yeah, I am missing football right now. Absolutely missing it. But... there may not be any football, but there is definitely content. I can tell you that for a fact. So, yeah, get your thoughts and feelings in the comments section as I go through some of these stories, because there is a wide variation. There is some quotes coming out from Benni Mccarthy. There was a wireless audio bug planted in the away dressing room at Aston Villa. What does Erik Ten Hag's voice note says? Maybe we'll find out. Tuchel to England. Next England manager, potentially. Could we miss out on possibly the best candidate for the job at the minute? And then also a Kobbie new deal expected, which has been expected for a while, to be fair. We have spoken about it a bit. But it's something I'm excited about, and it's something that we should definitely be pushing as much as we possibly can. So, yeah, really excited about that. But like I said, a variety of stories today. The first one I want to get into is this bugged situation. So, Erik Ten Hag's instructions to the team and individual players apparently can clearly be heard in the recordings. There was a prankster who used a phone from China that has a setting where a microphone can be activated by calling it from another device. He had sticky taped the handset somewhere out of sight in the United dressing room and only rang it when he knew the manager would be in there. So first and foremost, this is going to turn into almost like a criminal investigation, or like we're going to be like some form of detective. So what I want to know is, how did he get it in there in the first place, right? So, for example, we had Adam, who came over, who's on the channel, but lives in Ireland, came over to Manchester, did the United tour, the experience and all that kind of stuff, as you would, as a, kind of like a tourist, watched a couple of the games. But whilst he was in, doing like the tour or whatever, he jokingly, when Maguire was in bad form, it was literally just a joke. He had put a P45 on Harry Maguire's bench bit, or like under his thing, wherever it is, just as a joke, filmed it, got a bad reaction. This guy is either a Villa fan, or it was a tourist of some kind of sort, and has gone in, done all the tour, blah blah blah, somehow got this, like, I imagine it's like a proper, do you remember the Nokia 3310 phones? Like proper tiny, like doodaloo. I imagine it's like, well, they're not tiny either, they are the bricks, to be fair. I mean a smaller one that you've seen them in films. I imagine it being like that size phone. And he's just gone like that, and he's just tapped in a certain software, and he's sat there, and he's looked around. He's like, oh yeah, that's great. Unai Emery pictures, yeah, what he's won. Aston Villa, obviously European history, blah, blah, blah. Back in the Champions League, oh, this is all amazing, this history, and da-da-da. Boom, just stuck it underneath the bench and was like, right, that is jammed on. And then either waited for maybe, I don't know, when does Ten Hag speak to the players before the game? Half an hour before kickoff or something? And then obviously half-time, and then you've got full-time as well after the results. So he probably had an idea or an inkling when the manager was going to speak. And I'll tell you what, you don't even need to hear... whether they're going to release it or not is another question in itself, and I'll kind of discuss that. But you don't even need to hear what he said, because I think you guys already know what he said. You already know what's on that recording tape when he's in that dressing room. What's Ten Hag saying to his players? What am I going to say? He's sat there in the dressing room, and he's going... Someone goes, Erik, we're wide open. Why are we playing with a 4-4-2 here mid-block? We never usually do this. Why is Eriksen starting? Why is Evan starting? All this kind of stuff. And he just goes, trophies, huh? Clear, huh? Trophies, huh? That's what I think the recording says. One can only speculate at this point, but it's got to be something along the lines of that, hasn't it? Has to be something along the lines of that. I think it'd be interesting if they did release the audio of it to see, actually, because that's one thing we're never going to get at Man United, I don't think, is you see these documentaries, these Amazon all or nothing things. United obviously don't want that, because it'd just be bad press for them. I know they'd get paid money for it, but which usually is their kind of thought line, but maybe not under Ineos. I don't think they want that, because they'd see what's really going on. We can only go off what media's reporting, what players are saying, ex-coaches, pundits, etc. We have a bit of a knowledge about that situation, but I think if they really went like, full documentary, you'll see, you know, the chats with all the players, just everything behind closed doors, basically, you'll see. I think it would open a lot of people's eyes. So something like this being released would be great. I don't think for obviously for coaches and players and stuff. I think it'd be. I can't sit here as a fan and say it wouldn't be interesting to listen to it and to see what's been said. But I don't know. Tag doesn't strike me as the type of guy that's does these kind of, you know, like motivational speeches or taps into emotion. It just does not strike me as that kind of guy. I just feel like his dressing room rants would kind of be like, "These are the standards. You're not hitting the standards, lads. This is what I expect from you. This is what you did wrong. Da, da, da. Go out there and improve it." That's the type of guy. I don't feel like he's... You know when you see Jose Mourinho's speeches sometimes, and they're really like... They really grab you because he's got... and I apologise for telling on this, but he hasn't really got any charisma or any... That Mourinho kind of vibe where, like, you know, he's tapping into the other side of the players, not just instructions. He's giving them something. So I don't think it'd be that interesting anyway, to be fair. I don't think it would. And can I just say as well, without even telling you, guess which publication put this story out? You already know. You already know who did that. You know, it's The Sun, of course. The Sun only release, you know, the only kind of stuff they put out is controversial, sticky subjects who, yeah, that's their whole kind of thing in it. That's their kind of shebang. You know, whenever there was anything about Mason Greenwood coming out, when that whole story was going back and forth, it was Neil Custis and it was The Sun. Whenever it was something to do with Qatar or whatever it was Neil Custis and it was The Sun. There was a reoccurring theme with them. They like putting edgy storylines out there or stuff that's going to, you know, grab a certain demographic's attention. And look, I'm talking about it now, but I just think it's a story that's like, if true, it's pretty crazy, isn't it? Someone planting a fucking bug in the dressing room to say what you know. I mean, you don't really need to. I said the same thing with with when they're paying £200,000 to put a wall up around Old Trafford. Around Old Trafford. Jesus Christ, that'd be a lot more expensive than that. Around the training ground. I'm like, you don't need to do that, Erik, because everyone knows your tactics already. I think someone with their UEFA B badge could probably outculture at this point the way we're playing. So, yeah, I thought that's a very, very interesting story that I just wanted to touch on and go with as the main headline, because we have a lot of stuff come out around the club about what's going on with the manager. We've spoken about that so much. What's going on with the stadium and the expansion of that and da-da-da. What about this international duty and da? And they're the typical kind of things that we go through. But having something like this, I just thought, yeah, why not? Let's start the show off with that and let's discuss the potential, what could be said on the audio tape. Looming in the chat, big up everyone just joining. A bit of a slow start this morning, well, this afternoon, should I say. Well, that's absolutely fine. Happy to be back. Happy it's weekend. Like I said, there's no football, but we've got plenty of content and plenty of stories for you. So, yeah, make sure you stay locked in and smash a like on the video. Right. 1 second. Clear the throat. Okay, let's discuss what Benni McCarthy's been saying, because he's done an interview with Superstar TV, I think it is, or something like that. Never heard of him before. Anyway, the team is incredible, man. The training and the quality they have individually as a team and as a unit. Then it comes to match day, and it's like we get a massive shock, like, ooh, what's just happened? I can imagine how frustrating it must be for Erik. He's probably one of the most hardest working managers I've come across. Pays extreme close attention to detail. That man goes to sleep at 3 a.m., 4 a.m., and then he's up at 7 a.m. He's awake. He's a pure analyst. When you put that amount of work, you expect something to work. These are very insightful, interesting comments that he's making. The pressures of playing for Man United is heavy. You have to be there to really experience it. On Marcus Rashford, he said he's special. Rash is a special player and a special human being. He's pure-hearted and he's Man United through and through. Any kind of advice he would come to me, and I mean anything. Supersport TV, sorry, not Superstar TV. Yeah, hearing things like this may shock some of the fan base, because I think people are so fixated that Ten Hag knows nothing about football because of the way we're playing football, you know, on the pitch. But Steve McLaren said it. Benni McCarthy said it. Anyone who's worked with him has even said Casemiro was shocked sometimes tactically at some of the stuff that, in terms of how much knowledge and depth Ten Hag has. So the huge question is, why is it not coming across on the pitch? Why is everything that we're doing, everything that Ineos are seeing in training, why is that application not coming across onto the pitch? Is it match day nerves? Is it the crowd? Is it the expectation and the weight of Man United, which has been such a heavy burden on players for a long, long time? If so, well, they need to deal with that heavy burden. You should, if you're playing for Manchester United, you should expect that. And I know they'll come out in there, when they do the interviews after the game, they say, this is Man United, this is what I expected, and da-da-da. It doesn't wash when you're not, actions speak louder than the words, I think they always say, doesn't it? So something's going wrong in that middle department. Training well, looking good, sharp, fizzing it about, they're doing the drills really, really well. And then there's some kind of cross lines or miscommunication as it gets onto the pitch. And I've mentioned this so many times about Erik ten Hag, about like character or charisma coming across or getting a message, or maybe there's kind of a bit of a language barrier there. Sometimes you don't really get, how he comes across a little bit like a head teacher. I don't know. I'm not saying they need a mate in there, because all they got to social was the mate, and look, that ended up flipping on its head as well. So we've gone through every manager as like, right, well, any type of manager you could possibly have, we've done it. The kind of old school tactician and Louis van Gaal, who's won trophies, won the Champions League with Ajax, right, and Barcelona, I think. Done relatively well with the national team. Then you bring in the superstar manager who's like at the very top of his peak in Jose Mourinho, or at least close to that. You've tried all these different managers and they've not worked. So maybe it is just the players. I question the squad at the minute. I'm like, it's a good squad, but what level of talent really is it? Is it a top 4 level squad? Is it a title challenging squad? Is it a top 6 to 8 squad? Or is it a mid-table squad? Obviously, off the table at the minute, you'd go, well, it's below mid-table. We're in 14th, aren't we? But I think with the quality that we have, you should be at least pushing top 4. So something's lost in translations there. I don't know what it is, but you keep seeing coaches coming out, and anyone who's worked with Erik ten Hag saying he's a fantastic tactician. He knows the game so well. And even go back to the quotes when Erik ten Hag first came in at the club. There was Steve McLaren saying there would be times when he was my assistant manager, when we needed a solution in the game, I'd go, what next, Erik? And he'd go, right, go man to man. Or if you've lost a player, do this, do that. And he'd change the game instantly and he'd win it. And he did that in his first season. So I really, really want to know. I'd just love to speak to Erik ten Hag and pick his brain and just say, why did you do this? Why are you persisting with this? Why has this player not done that? Why have you not really, do you know what I mean? Just go through a whole list of questions, because the media will ask it, and, they'll have certain interviews where they'll give little insights, but I don't think he ever speaks like really and truly, which managers can't do sometimes. They have to be political. I get that. But it's just frustrating, because I see something with him. I just don't know if he'll get the time. I think I wanted him gone after the Tottenham game. I still kind of stand by that, because it's just not working. I don't think we can really afford to drag the season on any longer. But you listen to people who know the game. They talk about ten Hag up there tactically. So I don't know what's going wrong. I don't know. United has been this huge question mark in football for fucking years, haven't we? Just been a huge question mark. But let us know your thoughts on that. We have had an update from CFC Bayern. So Christian Falk last night, which I thought was interesting. I thought it was just going to be another kind of tap into, United, Tuchel's favourite, blah, blah, blah. But apparently not. Thomas Tuchel is negotiating to become the England national team manager, which has me worried a little bit, to be honest, because I look at the potential candidates that's available for the job right now, and I'm like, or who isn't in a job, let's just say. Tuchel's one of them. Graham Potter is another one of them. I'm talking about who would be relatively easy to get. If you're going to go get an Amarin or Thomas Frank, you're going to have to pay money, aren't you? I'm just saying who's not in a job at the minute. It's Tuchel, Potter, Zidane. Maybe there's a couple others that I'm forgetting off the top of my head. But it's not a giant, long, wealthy list, is it? And when you're trying to get a manager mid-season, it makes it, a lot harder. It's like what they say with the January transfer window. It's not a great time to be pushing for managers. So if he is speaking to if we were successful at the minute and we was doing okay and we was, pushing near the top and doing well in Europe, this story wouldn't even bother me. If anything, I'd be happy about it, because I'm like, we need someone like him in the national team. I think he'd be fabulous for England. I think he'd do really, really well. I actually think he would win things. So just in isolation, Tuchel at England, I think would be great. It would be okay. But because he's the best possible option at the minute for United, and we're going through a rough patch. I don't want him to go for England. I would rather him come to Manchester United. I just don't know if Ineos and Tuchel can find that middle ground and an agreement on how they're going to go forward with this club. Because they had the first meeting. The first meeting went well. The second meeting, I'm guessing, is down to recruitment. Because you look at Tuchel's history at previous clubs, Chelsea, Dortmund, PSG, Bayern, the majority of the arguments have come from certain players that he wanted to recruit. He's a perfectionist. He wants certain players in certain systems and uses them away. And if you actually look at individuals that he's worked with, like Mbappe's and Aubameyang's, Neymar's, Dembele's, all these players have had their best season under him. So he wants specific players to work with, very specific recruitment. And I think that's why there was a clash with Ineos. One can only speculate, but, you know, I think that's what it was. So, not happy that he's being linked with the England job and he's in talks, because I think that could be something that he's interested in. You know, we've seen Poch go to USA at the minute. Whether Klopp eventually takes over at Germany, I'm not sure. Nagelsmann's just gone to Germany as well. We've seen top coaches going into the international game. I don't think that's always been the case. I know top coaches have managed an international, but I'm saying there seems to be more club coaches going in that direction, wanting to win a World Cup or the Euros or what have you. I think it'd be interesting to see how like England fans feel as well about it. You know, German manager in charge. Obviously, we've had Capello and we've had other ones as well. But yeah, I hope he doesn't get it. I hope we're in talks with him as well. And maybe this will push Ineos slightly. Maybe this is why there's a bit of a delay to say, you know, there's a real chance here that he might end up going. So we need to kind of push the envelope on this one. Let's see what updates we have. I think, to be honest, at this rate, you know, it's the weekend now. We kick off against Brentford. Is it on a Saturday? Brentford? Let's have a look. So it's like a week today if it is, when we play Brentford. 3 o'clock Saturday. Yeah, 3 o'clock kick off Saturday. So literally this time next week, pretty much, or close to it, we play Brentford. So, and the manager needs to start prepping the players. You know, I can't see him going, to be honest with you. I think if he was going to announce it, he would have done it early this week. Just gone. So I think Ten Hag does stay for the Brentford game, for the Fenerbahce game, potentially. And then what I think is going to happen is I think they're going to recess it in November, near that kind of international break. And then I think he might go if results don't pick up. But you can't just keep doing what you've done against Villa, the back to the walls, 4-4-2, you know, sit deep and kind of mirror their tactics, but like, you know, be a bit more defensive about it. You know, if he gets results and you're winning, that's all right for the meantime. But I think Villa were off it. That's the only reason why we drew that game, because they was completely off it. So yeah, interesting. Right, the last story I'm going to discuss. Kobbie Mainoo is close to signing a new contract at Man United. He will receive a wage increase. Love Kobbie. First 8 months, phenomenal, meteoric rise. Probably has taken him back a bit, as you know, emotionally, physically. Played a lot of football in you know, a quick turnaround. Didn't have a giant break over the summer, you know, when he came back into the team. Has done relatively well, but I do think the system that we deploy does hurt him slightly. I think it's weird, because I think if you put Kobbie in Barcelona or Real Madrid or any of these teams, I think he'd look like the Kobbie that he did when he first came in. I think because we've been so stretched in the midfield and defensive-wise, and the tactics have been all over the gaff, and the team as a unit are not performing well, he's almost become a product of that, and we've seen that with players before as well. I think Garnacho's going through a similar patch. I think they're very talented players, but I think, you know, in order for a plant to grow, you've got to water it correctly, and I don't think he's being watered correctly at the minute. But I think there's a superstar gem in there, no doubt about it. We've seen that over the past 8 months. So, look, no doubt that's one of the first things I would have done as Ineos going in. I'm like, get that boy signed up for another 5-year deal. If you have to increase his wage, it's fine. It's not going to be mega, is it? I mean, I don't know what he's on at the minute, and it don't really matter what he's on at the moment. But I'm just saying, if he's going to get an increase, fine. He's earned it. Has he not? He's become a regular for Man United. He's one of our best players. You know, when he's peacocking on form, he's right up there as one of the best young talents in England, in my opinion. But at the minute, it's going through a bit of a sticky patch. And yeah, guess what? He's 19. He's going to go through a sticky patch. This happens. Fucking get over it. You know what I mean? People who are criticising him heavily, like, come on, man. Come on. give over. So a new contract, in my eyes, is only a good thing. I don't know how long Garnacho's got left on his contract, but that is something else that I would be looking at. I know Amad Diallo only has 1 year left on his deal. Definitely something I would be considering and looking into. Yeah, there's a few things that United need to sort out. But what I was thinking at the time as well is, what are you saying to these players to convince them to sign and stay for another 5 years? The way the football is at the moment, how are you, Ineos, speaking to these guys' agents and the players in particular, and you're sitting down with them and you're going, right, do you want to stay here for another 5 years? And they're looking at the last year, let's say the last calendar year, and they're going, I don't know. Fuck knows, what's the plan? Where are we going? Who's going to be the manager? Where does my future lie? You know, it's a big thing to sign yourself up for a 5-year deal, isn't it? I know it's like United, dream club, from Manchester. I get that side of it. I really do. But, yeah. We'll see. We'll see. I think he's going to sign it. He's going to sign it anyway. But, yeah, been very, very quiet in today's show. I'm not sure why people are busy or what have you, but I appreciate anyone who's been watching anyway. Please do smash like on the video for us and subscribe to the channel. For you members, we have got a video dropping tonight that's currently being exported. And it's how would Ruud van Nistelrooy line up if he was the interim coach at Manchester United. So we'll release that for members early, and then we'll put it out for the public maybe Sunday, Monday probably. So we'll have Sunday social tomorrow. So, yeah, appreciate you guys. Whatever you're doing this weekend, hopefully you enjoy it. And, yeah, we'll see you later around 7 o'clock.